Thank you. Hi, my name's Chelsea. I'm an addict. Hi, Chelsea. Okay, hi guys. I'm going to echo what JD said. And had I known there'd be this many people, I would have been like, no. I feel really uncomfortable, but I've also kind of learned through doing a bit of work that my comfort zone will get me killed. So it's nice to step out of that, you know. Step 8. We made a list of all people we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. You know, I think the steps are in the order they're in for a reason. When I first got clean, you know, I was like getting everybody. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't even know what I was apologizing for. I just felt so much guilt and shame, and I just wanted to, I don't know, I was trying to make other people responsible for my feelings again, like make me feel okay, you know. And I've heard someone share about the way the steps are all about relationships, you know. You've got your step 1 to 3, it's building a relationship with a higher power. Steps 4 through 7 is building a relationship with yourself. 8 and 9 is about building a relationship with other people. And then steps 10, 11, and 12 are about the maintenance of that. You know, regular inventory, keep maintaining that relationship with myself. And step 11, maintaining that relationship with a higher power. And step 12, maintaining that relationship with other people. And step 8 is beautiful because that's kind of, it brings other people into the healing process, you know. When I first kind of came around, I was so self-centered, and I had this massive victim mentality, and I literally thought the whole world was against me, and if your life was as shit as mine, you'd use like me too, kind of thing, you know. And I always used to laugh and kind of feel a little bit personally attacked by the Why Are We Here reading, whereas like through our own inability to accept personal responsibilities, we were actually creating our own problems. I was just like, how dare you? Right? But the beautiful thing about the steps is that I can start kind of like looking at my part in things. You know, I can start kind of believing in something greater than myself because I relied so much on my thinking for so much of my life. You know, and what's already been shared is I was so isolated. By the end of my using, my world was like the size of the corner of my living room. I was surrounded by cat shit and dirty needles, and like the best relationship I had was with a dealer who would say it'd be like 5 minutes and always take like 3 hours. And it was just really sad. And I pushed away all these relationships, anything that interfered with my using, you know. And it was only kind of like when I got into recovery that I was able to kind of create enough space between my thinking and my actions where I could even consider how other people were feeling when I was using, because I had no idea. I didn't stop long enough to even consider it, you know, and I'm a crier, so I'll probably cry. But yeah, when it came to my mom, you know, always get emotional when she sees me cry all the time. My mom, you know, she shared with me that she wanted to kill herself, you know, because she felt so powerless watching her daughter kill herself, and there was nothing that she could do to help that. And she also shared with me that after not speaking to me for about 2 years, my dad had begged her to come and see if I was alive, and he lives over in South Africa, and they have a really terrible relationship, and he was desperate, and she came and she knocked on the door, and I remember opening it and being like, what the hell, and she stepped back, and I remember just saying help, and she shared with me later on in recovery that when she was coming to knock on the door, she was hoping that I was dead, not because that's what she wants for her daughter, but because she thought that would be the kindest thing, you know? It's kind of living that half-life. So yeah, making a list of all the people I've harmed. You know, I did a step 4 where I could, you know, see the exact nature of my wrongs and see my part in things, see what decision based on self placed me in a position to be hurt, you know, and my defects. What's underneath all that? Why did I push people away, you know? And then I can do my step 6, and I can see I've got some defects, and like, I do my step 7, humbly ask for my shortcomings to be removed, and when it comes to step 8, I'm a bit softer. Because by this point now, instead of always seeking to be understood, I'm seeking to understand, right? Because it was always about me when I used. What can I have? What can you give me? How can you help me get high and escape myself and change how I feel? At any cost, really, you know? what my step one told me, was that despite all consequences, I was going to use again if I didn't do something different. You know, and part of that, doing something different, is taking responsibility for my behavior. And it's not just saying sorry, because I've said that a million times and people are sick of that word. Like, Chelsea, you are sorry, yeah. It's about identifying, doing an honest appraisal of my harms against other people, identifying that, yeah, have I exploited people? Have I emotionally black male people? Have I stolen? Have I physically hurt people? And I have. I've done a lot of those things. A lot of the stuff I wouldn't do clean, right? But that still hangs over me, and I've still got this residual shame for how I used to be. You know, the stuff that follows me around, that kind of dialogue that says, you're a piece of shit, you don't belong, you know, you're an imposter. And I'm always going to have that funky thinking. I've got a disease that centers in my thinking, you know. It's that self-centered fear. My first thought's always about me. Even the few others following are about me sometimes, you know. But then I also have this program that enables me to have space between my thinking and my actions, and not to believe everything that I think, you know. It gives me consequential thinking, yeah. But in order for me to be able to kind of learn from my mistakes, because I've got a really shit memory, and I've got this voice in my head that sometimes likes to make myself out to be the victim and everyone else is to blame. It's like, I've got to really look at that stuff. How has my behavior harmed those people? And how moving forward, do I change that behavior? You know, and how do I become willing to kind of do those things? And the willingness came from realizing that, I don't know, I kind of moved from my head into my heart a little bit. And I know it's a journey, and I still kind of like ping pong between the two sometimes. But when I was able to put myself in other people's shoes, you know, my mom always used to say to me that when I was using, I was so apathetic. I was somewhat of a narcissist. It's true. But coming into this program, it's kind of enabled me to go. I use the word enabled a lot. It's helped me to kind of move into that heart space. And I guess also coming into these rooms where I was able to really feel unconditional love, you know, because I could share stuff with you guys that I'd never shared before. And no one said to me, Chelsea, get out. You know, no one said that. They told me to keep coming back, you know. Sometimes that can be interpreted of, yeah, get well soon, keep coming back, you know. But I kept coming back, and you accepted me and helped me to learn to love myself. And I think part of the process of loving yourself is taking responsibility for your life, you know, and the way that you harm other people. How much time do I have? Oh my God.
You've been going for 8 minutes.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, as a result of that, my life's much better. You know, I think giving people that space to share about how they felt is, you know, and thinking about how that will feel without going too much into your side of things, it can be really difficult because you project and you think, oh my God, what's going to happen? And, you know, sometimes you don't want to hear how you hurt other people, you know, because that kind of taps back into that shame of, I'm a bad person and all this sort of stuff. But my experience has been is that although I'm unable to make a lot of amends, because a lot of the people I owe amends to are kind of faceless, you know. I've taken from society, you know. I've taken advantage of people. I've stolen so much precious time, you know. But I'm making a living amends by staying clean a day at a time, you know. And my mom doesn't have to get feared up every time she hears a knock at the door, you know, thinking the police have come to tell her that I'm dead. Or my mom's not having to put locks on all the windows because once again I've invited another toxic man into our lives. You know, I think also on another level, I remember when I was writing my amends list, and I'm sure there was some stuff I was like, I'm not putting on there, and my sponsor said, where's your name on this list? You know? And I had to really think about it, because the person that I harmed the most in that process, it wasn't just time that I'd stolen from the people who would, who loved me, who felt powerless and were watching me kill myself. I stole so much time from myself, and I oftentimes can go back into a little space where I get emotional thinking of how I wish I could have been for my younger self, what I kind of know now, Like I wish I could have shown up for her, because I put myself through a lot of really painful things just because there were drugs on the table, just because I wanted to feel different, just because I wanted to reach that space of bliss or oblivion and just not have to take responsibility for my life, because it felt so big and I didn't know how to overcome it, and it was just too much. But I didn't understand that the thing that was my solution for so long, which was drugs, very quickly started to perpetuate the problem, which is me, And it's like the more I used, the deeper I buried myself, and the more hopeless I became, and the darker things got. And there's something beautiful, and it was shared as well, the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. The relief that came with not having to hide anymore, to be able to kind of believe in something greater than myself that could care for me and support me through those times where I had to kind of sit through some things that were uncomfortable and give people that space, because I believe that if addiction is isolation, recovery is connection, and it's a we program, and just as addiction affected every area of my life, recovery also ripples outwards and it heals. And I think that I'm ever grateful. I'm so deeply grateful for the opportunity to kind of, discover who I am. I'm still learning. There's lots of stuff I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what I like. Sometimes I feel like, oh my God, what should I be doing with myself, And I don't want to be that person who continues to steal from the people in my life. I've got a little girl in recovery, and she's amazing. She's amazing. And I think, my mom, she kind of she comes and she sees me, every few weeks she'll come down, she'll spend time with me, and she lets me into her house. She lets me into her house. And I remember when I was pregnant, and this was a couple of years into recovery, and she took me upstairs into the loft, and there was some of my baby clothes. It was these little baby boots. And she goes, I want to give you something. I was like, okay. She's like, these were yours when you were born. And I'm not ready to... I used to find shit like this really cringe. But she was like, I never thought that I'd have this opportunity to share something like this with you. Which is just huge. And I'm just so grateful that I have this space where I can come and I can be myself and I can share my thinking. And I think not everyone out there has this, we have this space where we can heal and we can discover who we are and accept ourselves and find that self-love. And I think it's only fair that we allow this to kind of ripple outwards, What time have I got?
It's 14 minutes, so...
I might stop at 15. I might. But yeah, that willingness, that willingness to put that stuff down, to know that I have a higher power in my life, that can guide me. I mean, for me, it's this program. It's that good, orderly direction. Know that if I continue to do the next right thing, if I keep going to meetings, if I keep connecting with my sponsor and other recovering addicts, doing the steps, applying spiritual principles in my life, going to regular meetings, giving this stuff away where I can, giving freely what was so freely given to me, that I'm going to be okay. I don't have to use, I'm kind of drying up a little bit, and I think that's okay. That's all I have to give right now, but really, really grateful to this program. And yeah, if you're new around, keep coming back, give yourself a chance. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, and do the steps in order.